Welcome to another CSLAP video. My name is Thomas Ray Garcia. I am the founder and executive director of the College Scholarship Leadership Access Program, CSLAP, located in Pharr, Texas. I am about to host a panel with two RGV natives who attended Texas Upstate Universities who would like to give their testimonies and stories about what it was like to transition to College Upstate and giving their advice to the class of 2021 and beyond. Amanda, would you like to get started and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Gonzalez. I graduated from PSJ North High School in 2014, and then I moved to Austin to attend college at St. Edward's University, which is a smaller school that focuses on liberal arts education and is nearby the capital, in the state capital. And I graduated in 2014 with a bachelor's degree in English writing, and I focused on journalism and digital media and also had a minor in Spanish.
So my name's Lali Morales, and I graduated Vanguard Academy in 2010, which is my high school. I'm currently attending Texas State University, and I am planning on graduating on 2023. I am currently majoring in advertisement and minoring in sociology.
Great, let's get started. My first question revolves around your intent about going upstate. I wanted to ask you all, why did you decide to go to college upstate in the first place? And what did you or do you enjoy most about it?
I decided to attend college upstate primarily for financial reasons. It was actually less expensive to attend college for me at that specific university. I had applied to a small number of colleges, and one of them was UTRGV, and I actually received more of a larger financial package based off of merit at St. Edward's, and that was a huge factor in deciding where I wanted to go to school. But also, when I visited the campus, I was visiting UT and St. Edward's the same day on a weekend trip, and I just felt at home at St. Edward's. It's a very beautiful campus, and I knew that being in Austin specifically, there would be a lot more opportunities to be involved in a different number of organizations, because a lot of state level agencies and big groups of organizations all have their primary branch for their office in Austin. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at the time, but I knew there would be more of a market for journalism jobs, for anything related to politics. And I enjoyed the fact that there were a smaller class size opportunities at St. Edward's as well. And it was a great opportunity to think about all of the different things that are available to be on your resume. And I say that with regards to thinking about what are opportunities where you'll be able to make the largest impact and touch the largest number of people and learn as much from each opportunity that you'll have. So I knew there would be more unique experiences in terms of internships and job opportunities for after I graduated if I were in a big city. And Austin seemed far enough away to be on my own, away from home, but also close enough that I could come visit for a weekend if I wanted to.
The reason why I decided to attend Texas State University is because, firstly, I went to go visit Texas State University and UTSA, and I really fell in love with the campus at Texas State. The environment was just like, I appreciated that it was full of a lot of nature, and it was something that really I felt like home at, because here at the Valley, it's like there's nature, but it's not as much as over there at Texas State. And I just really liked it. And personally, for me, my financial aid was almost the same. It covered the same here at UTRGV compared to Texas State. So financially, I didn't really have like one pulling me towards it. It was more like I could do whatever I wanted to because it was the same, and regardless, I'd end up paying the same. So for me, it was just whatever like I felt more comfortable at. So I've always said I wanted to leave home for college because I just felt like I needed to become, I guess, independent in some way, because I've always been really close to like people at my house. I'm like, it'd be nice to like open up. So that's the reason why I decided to attend a place far from home. But like Amanda said, it's not that far from home. It's like 5 hours away. Um, what I really enjoy about it is that there's a lot of different like cultures there, and there's like a lot of different people that you can talk to, and there's people from like Houston, there's people from San Antonio, there's people from Austin, and it's just like, and it's also perfect because it's in the middle of Austin and San Antonio, so like there's also like there's enough areas so that you can actually expand, and like a lot of things like talking to different people about different cultures and talking about your career. It's just like if you want a job at San Antonio, you could get one because it's not that far away of a drive compared to like from here to like San Antonio is like another 4 to 5 hours. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy about like picking Texas State as my college.
Well, how does living in your university's city differ from living in the Valley?
Great question. So I lived in Austin for 4 years during the time that I was in college, and I came home for 3 of those summers. And I noticed primarily that there was more diversity, not just in the faces, but also in the ways of thinking and in the opportunities available to maybe like attend a concert on a weekend. There's definitely more opportunities to just explore and adventure. But I think when we think about the Valley, a huge part of that, at least for me, is the fact that my family is all here. And what the biggest difference was the fact that I didn't necessarily have too many family members nearby or in that city. And so it was a great time to learn more about what are my interests and passions. If I have a weekend and I don't have any obligations or family events to attend, am I going to make the conscious decision to, for example, find a new church in my city if religion is a big part of your family and the way you grew up? Are you going to use that time to explore, a nature scene? Are you going to use that time to study in a different part of town, try to explore a new coffee shop or something like that? So there was more opportunities for you to learn and explore because everything was new to you. And that goes for whatever new city you move into. The part of what makes that unique is like when we're in the Valley, we very much know, our favorite restaurants, our favorite coffee shops, or our favorite close friends that we hang out with. And everything about moving to a new city is brand new. And I think that was what I appreciated most about Austin, the fact that there was more diversity in every choice that I had.
The difference that I noticed the most was the cultures, like I had previously said, because I met a lot of different people that had a lot of different backgrounds. And it was something that I didn't really see here in the Valley, especially because I came from a very small school. So everyone knew each other. Everyone had like the same background, kind of like culture wise. And it was very different. And it was like, for me, it wasn't a shock because I kind of expected it, considering that the Valley was like, for me, like just a small circle of like a lot of, I guess for me, it was Hispanic people because of the school I went to. So it's just like I expected it, but it was still like shocking to see because it was true, and there's a lot of people, and it's nice to talk to different people because I did meet a few people that are Hispanic but had a different background because they lived in a different place. So it was just nice to like talk to different people. And that's like one of the things that I think was very different about living from here to over there. And then for me also is that I was in high school and I would live with my parents, you know? So like they would move me around because there was no need to buy like another car and stuff like that. So like everything just depended on if they had time, if my brother and sister had time. Um, and then everything would just kind of like work that way. And now that I'm at Texas State, everything depends on me. If I have time, how I get to like move around and stuff like that. So it's like, it's more like independent for you. And it's just like, it's crazy to think that you can do so much on your own and you never thought that you could do it until like you're actually there. So for me, it's just like that transition was something very different because I didn't think, you know, that one day I'd be like all independent, and then I was there and I was doing it like it was natural to me. So like that was a big change, but I feel like everyone has the ability to do it. So it's more like you put yourself in that position and you'll do great if you're not negative about it and you just put your best foot forward. So even though they were like, it was very different, it's like very good, I guess, in a way for everyone to like experience it. And I really enjoyed it.
These answers on student life are very revealing and insightful. So now I want to ask you all, what is a day in the life like at your university?
So I think part of the whole college experience, whether you are in the Valley or if you leave to a different city for college, is figuring out what your typical day is going to look like. You obviously have the freedom to choose more or less when your courses will be. Some of them are only available at certain times, but you can make that decision about, do I want to have all of my classes be from 8 a.m. to 11 and you be done with all of your classes and have the afternoon to do more things, such as internships or join a club? Do you want to spread your courses out? Do you want to be able to be involved in things that are only at a certain time of the day? And so I think for me, what my college experience was shaped by was the fact that I was a student journalist for our school newspaper for 4 years. And I started writing from week one of college. And that helped me learn about different clubs, different events going on campus. And I was able to revolve my day around waking up, going to class, then being a part of an activity. I would always try to do at least one thing on campus each week, whether that was attending a sporting event or joining a meeting for an organization you think you might like. That part of, especially your freshman year, is figuring out exactly what you do want to be involved in. And I think the biggest piece of advice I would give is to find some organization on campus that you're passionate about or some issue and be involved with that, because it'll help shape what your day-to-day routine is going to look like. And you'll be able to learn how to manage your time and budget your time more efficiently so that you'll be able to maximize the amount of effort you'll be able to put into different issues that you're passionate about.
I guess my everyday life kind of, for me personally, it's surrounded on around my job kind of, especially because it was my first year. So far I'm still also like learning how the ropes are, you know, like learning how to do everything. So for me personally, I decided to focus mostly on like learning how it is to balance work and a job with your schoolwork. So that was like, I took last year, which was my freshman year, as that kind of like time where I could just do work and school. So for me, my typical day was just like waking up and doing all that stuff, and like then I'd just go to class. I would end up going to lunch, then going to work. Then I would go out of work, and my favorite part of the day was I would get out at 5. So like it was kind of late to the point that a lot of things weren't open. But what I really enjoyed about it is that I had a really great roommate. So me and my roommate, we'd end up like getting off of work 2 hours apart. So we'd end up going to lunch every day, which is pretty nice because like if you have a roommate, it's nice to bond with them and getting to know them, because you know like what boundaries you guys need to do and like have. And like personally, I really enjoyed my time with my roommate. She was really great. But that was kind of my typical day. I do want to start adding activities to my everyday life, especially because I just moved, like changed my major, and there's a lot more activities that I could actually do with the major that I have now compared to the one that I had previously. So for me, I'm just looking forward into adding club activities. Like I heard that my school has a really great advertisement club, so I'm looking forward to maybe probably joining them. So I'm thinking of maybe having time for it, especially because I had the ability to actually move my schedule this year. Because last year, the first one was just like they gave it to you, and then if you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you'd move things around. But it'd be hard because like, you know, you're barely starting and people had already taken the spots and stuff like that. And so for me, it's just my first year was just trying to like balance my work with school. But now that I actually know how that balances out and I was actually able to do it successfully, I think adding to my plate would be really cool because then I'd have more experience, especially with advertisement. So yeah, I'm hoping to hopefully add that, and hopefully my schedule will end up adding that. And instead of just doing work in school, it'd be nice to have an activity to do.
You know, stories of resilience really resonate with our students. So I wanted to ask you both, can you tell me about one of the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome at college and what you had to do in order to overcome it?
I'll mention two things, and I think they kind of tie into each other. But one of the biggest obstacles, I think, was just making friends when you're moving to a new city, and college is new for everyone. And you're not really sure, sometimes you'll have the opportunity to become best friends with your roommates, and other times you might have, you know, roommates that y'all just are day and night, and you're not really gonna agree, and learning to navigate those types of conversations about, I really don't like when you leave your clothes all over the room, or things like that. Little things, little conversations that are part of growing up that you have to learn to navigate. But apart from navigating roommate dynamics, you also have to try to kind of put yourself out there and make friends. And the way that I overcame that obstacle was joining the school newspaper. And I also would attend sporting events. And one time I was covering a soccer game. I was a freshman. Soccer was probably the sport I knew the least about. And so I was taking notes, and I was trying to figure out, okay, who are the key players, and like, is our team doing well right now? Like trying to analyze the game and figuring it all out. And this girl was sitting behind me, and she said, "Why are you taking notes at a game?" And I was like, "Well, I'm actually trying to write about this for the school newspaper." And she was like, "Oh, well, I played soccer like all throughout college. All throughout high school. Do you have any questions?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, God bless. Yes, I do, actually." So she actually became my best friend like that freshman year, and we were roommates together the following year. And she was from Missouri, so she was even further away from home than I was. And being there for each other when we were homesick was important. And knowing that, things at home, you're going to feel far away, and you're going to have some discomfort with, maybe, should I really be all the way over here? If I could be home, I could be more helpful to my parents or to my younger siblings or things like that. And you're going to have all those internal thoughts in your head. And sometimes, you're going to have to deal with, if a family member passes away or things like that. And knowing that you'll have your friends that you make to kind of help you through those hard times is really important. So I think like tying in the obstacles of like making friends, but also learning to deal with the fact that you're not always going to be home and you're not always going to be able to control everything that happens back home, and knowing that you can reach out to your friends and also to other resources on campus if you are struggling with mental health, or if you're struggling with certain course structures. If you're a first generation student and you don't know how to navigate the financial aid department and figuring all that out, knowing that there's people who have jobs specifically there to help you is important.
For me, I personally didn't struggle that much with homesick. Like, I wasn't really that homesick, but I guess the reason why is because I kind of already knew from the beginning that I wanted to move. So for me, it wasn't like a big impact when I moved, because I always said, this is what I want. And I never questioned it. So for me, I did have days when I was a little bit like homesick, but the reasons why were like one of the biggest struggles for me is that I came from Vanguard, which is a really, really small school. So for me, my struggle was, for example, here at Vanguard, what I had was a small community. I knew everyone. I was there since I was in the 3rd grade and I graduated with them. So I could see my teachers like walking on the hallways that were like my 3rd grade teachers, and I'd be able to like be like, hi, and I'd be able to talk to them. And for me, my biggest struggle was that college, you only have those teachers for 4 months, and then you have different teachers for another 4 months, and it just changes so rapidly, especially because for me, like the years went by fast, but I didn't expect those 4 months to go by super fast. So when like my first teachers, I got comfortable with them, I changed, and like that change really struck me and gave me a lot of struggles. I remember I was like super tired the first day, and I was like overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't like this teacher. I would prefer to go back to the first semester and stuff like that. So for me, the struggle was, yeah, I was homesick, but it was because of small things like that were like completely changed. So I wasn't like missing my parents that much because I would always talk to them on the phone. So I wasn't like that problem. It was more like the small community turned into something completely different because now I'm in this big school and things just changed so fast. So my struggle was like, just for example, that one was like my first struggle that I realized was actually a struggle. And I think like personally, that was the first time that I actually was like vulnerable and told my roommate, because she was my friend. I told her about it and she's like, yeah, things like that happen. But like for me, my struggle was, I guess, like the small community turning into a big one, because I didn't expect it to like be that big of a change, because at the beginning I wasn't like feeling it. I didn't feel homesick. I didn't feel the change. For me, it was just like I changed something small, but it didn't impact me that much until that one, like when my whole semester changed, it was like impacting, and I was just like, whoa. But yeah, that was my struggle, and I just took it day by day. Eventually I got used to it, and my teachers weren't that bad. I just like the first semester I was very open to talking to people, and my second semester I kind of like shut down. It was like I don't really need to, but I realized that I needed to, so I could like help that transition be smoother. So I guess if I could tell you something, it's just like take it day by day and don't close yourself, especially because when you close yourself, it's really hard to get out of that, especially for me. I struggle when like it's like dark outside. So like the second semester was really dark outside by 5, and that's when I'd get out of work. So like by the time I was off of work, I just wanted to be in bed and like not do anything. So I would just like say, open yourself up and actually help yourself transition from it day by day, because it does get hard, but like eventually like you get the hang of it, and you shouldn't close yourself out. It's really hard to like get out of it, because it was really hard for me to do it. And by the time I got out of it, for us, like this pandemic started. So it's just like, it sucks. But yeah, for me, the struggle was like the transition from a small community to a big community, but just take it day by day.
What's fascinating to me about college admissions is seeing how each university has their own toolbox of resources that students who attend that specific place can take advantage of in order to overcome some of these obstacles. So can you all speak to the university resources you took advantage of in order to advance yourself academically or professionally?
So when I first started college, like anybody who's going to start college, you'll receive your course schedule and you'll receive all these other important papers. And some of the information that you'll be able to find easily is who's your financial aid advisor? Who is the dean for your school? Who is your academic advisor? And so what I did in that first semester of college was I set up a meeting and a walk-in appointment. Some of them have walk-in appointments and others you can schedule an appointment with them. And I met with all three of them at different times and just kind of talked about, how I was transitioning over from high school to college, and if there were questions I still had, if they thought, what their thoughts were in terms of the courses that I was thinking of taking for the next semester. And those meetings were probably one of the most foundational, important meetings that I had that really set up the trajectory for the rest of my college career. And so my academic advisor, she was the one who put into my head, like, maybe I should switch majors. And she was the one that I was able to talk through some of those ideas. And I was able to say, like, I'm passionate about writing. And I originally entered college as a pre-law major. But I was very passionate about writing. I was involved with the student newspaper. And she said, well, why don't you take an intro to journalism course the next semester? And so I did that. And I ended up switching my major by the end of that semester to be writing with a specialization in journalism. And that was one important meeting. With my financial aid advisor, I was telling her that, I wanted to try to apply to more scholarships. And I didn't know if there were scholarships available to college student at the same level that there are for high school students. I know when you're applying for scholarships in high school, it seems like there's so many out there, but I wasn't sure if there was the same level. And she gave me a whole long list of scholarships that I met the criteria for. And because she knew, my grades, and she knew, like, my parents' financial situation, and she was able to see exactly which ones fit in. And I was able to apply for scholarships. And so all of my junior year, I applied for so many scholarships and I got them that my parents didn't have to worry about paying anything my junior year of college. And that money was money I was able to save and spend on textbooks and things like that. So that was really important. And the last thing I'll say about how this changed my trajectory is my financial aid advisor, she remembered that I had come in and that I was eager to learn about more scholarships and things like that. And she emailed me later in the semester and said, hey, you are a recipient of a very specific grant that the Texas legislature has to approve every other year during the legislative session. And she said it would be a really great opportunity if you could speak at the Capitol about why this grant helps you be able to attend college and what you're learning and growing from in attending St. Edward's. And I was a little nervous about doing that, but I agreed to it. And I spoke to my state representative who represents the PSJ area, which is Representative Sergio Munoz Jr. And by the end of that conversation that I had with him, he offered me an internship to start interning as a legislative intern in his office at the Capitol. And I decided to think about it, and I followed through. I followed up with the conversation a few months later, and I was interning at the Capitol during the legislative session, which happens only every other year for a few months. So it was a very crucial period of time that I was able to be with his office in 2017. And then that led to a different internship with the Mexican American Legislative Caucus, which led to my first job when I had graduated from college, working at a think tank in Austin that analyzes state level policy work. And now I am in the process of working on grad school applications, and I'm working part-time for one of my favorite state representatives doing campaign communications work. So all of these experiences that I had throughout college in terms of not being afraid to talk to people or make meetings and make appointments has really helped in terms of people remembering me and thinking of me for different opportunities. Like, hey, I saw this internship, I thought you might be interested in it, and they send it my way because they know me and they know exactly what my interests and passions are. And I think those were some of the most important meetings that I had, and I would definitely recommend that everybody know who your financial advisor is and make sure that they know who you are too.
For me, there's a lot of resources at Texas State that I personally knew about when I entered, because whenever you take, like, for me, I took a tour there, the first thing that they like talk about is like their resources. So like they let you know about the resources. It's just, it depends on you if you take advantage of them. So personally, I've taken advantage of a place that's called CSLAP, and what they do is they help you with classes. Like you could go with in there with like questions about your writing. You can ask them questions about math. You can ask them questions about biology and stuff like that, and they help you with your homework and help you understand stuff. So personally, that's one of the things that I took advantage of. Another one that I really took advantage of was, it's different than Slack but very similar. I took advantage of the writing center. So they're more based on writing. Even though you can go to Slack to get help with writing, the writing center is like the center of everything when it comes to writing. So I took my English 1301 class there and my English 1302 at Texas State too. And they really helped me a lot with like making sure that my writing was up to the standards that my teachers needed it. So I was very grateful for that. And then I took an accounting class before I decided to change my major. And I actually did enjoy that class, but they had this thing where it was like a study group. And it was like if you went to Slack and stuff like that, but it was with people who actually took the class like a year before that, and they were going to major into accounting. So they knew a lot about accounting. So it just like, it helped a lot to be able to like see their perspective and them helping us. And one of the resources that I also took advantage of was career counseling, because I was a marketing major and I just changed to advertisement, which they're kind of similar. But the way that they teach it at Texas State, like I remember getting so frustrated because I took my first marketing class and I didn't really like it. And so before I decided to change my major, I looked into the classes, I looked into like the ones that are coming up, and I was looking into their syllabus, and I was looking at like what the teachers like were their requirements, how the classes were being taught and stuff like that. And I didn't really like the way that they were taught personally, because that's just not the way that I work. They were like, I think it was like exams that were timed, and they were all based off of books to read. And even though I like I know that is a part of like college, like reading a book and like understanding the book, for me, I learned more like in a different way. Like it has to be visual, and like the teacher that I had would just sit there and talk. That's all he would do. So like I looked into the other syllabus, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, like that I had the, like I wanted to change, because not every teacher is the way that he was, you know? And so I was like, you know what, it might not be the same. So I looked into it, and all the teachers had the same criteria. They taught the same when it came to marketing. And I was like, that's not really what I was looking for, you know? So I looked into the advertisement one, and I really thought that it was different. And I really liked it because it was more like communicating with people and actually doing like projects here and there and doing stuff like that. It was like more hands-on for me, and I really like that. But when I did that, I went to an academic advisor just to make sure that I was doing the right decision, because I closed myself and I was like marketing or advertisement, and I just wanted to open my horizons a little bit just to make sure, like, because I was completely lost. I didn't know if I was doing the right choice. And I went and they helped me. They helped me like lay out everything. They helped me see different options that I had, because they were like, would you be interested in like a medical field and stuff like that? So they really helped me actually like lay down everything and make sure that that's what I wanted to pursue. And I discovered that I wanted to minor in sociology, even though it's like not the best major or minor. It's just like I thought it was very interesting, and it'd be a good idea to take it so that it could like, it's like a good, happy like middle, I guess, in a way. Like it would make my college experience so much better, because it'd be something that I'd really like to like learn about, and that would help me implement it into advertisement. So it's just like, it was very helpful. But what I do have to say is that the first time you go into like getting advised or like getting any help academically wise, don't be discouraged if you don't like it the first time, because I went to like the writing center various of times, and sometimes I liked the person that I got, and sometimes I didn't understand the way that they would tell me things back, or I wouldn't click with them so that they could help me. There was just like, they that connection didn't really help me like actually see what they were saying, and like things just got bundled up and it was a little bit of a mess. But don't get discouraged by it. Like, you'll find the person that you work comfortable with and stuff like that. I went to like 3 advising appointments, and I didn't click with that many people because they kept just saying the same. Like, I think they were like, just do like sociology as a major, and it's like, I wanted more than that, because I'm the type of person that likes doing a lot of things, and they just didn't open that door for me. So I kept looking for someone that would understand what I was trying to say, and them being able to help me the way that I wanted to be helped. So it's just like, don't be discouraged. Keep looking. It might be a little bit frustrating because it took me like a whole semester, but it's really worth it because they help you so much, and you discover what you do want and what you don't want. So even though you didn't have the best experience the first time, it doesn't mean that it was pointless. Like, they taught you what you didn't want, for example. So it's just like, don't give up, and like make sure to like actually look into the resources and use them, because they're there for a reason, and they help you a lot. Even though you might not think that they'd help you, they really do help.
I'd now like to rewind a bit and ask you all, if you had the opportunity to go back in time and talk to your senior year self in high school, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself before graduating high school, about to go to college?
I think there's plenty of things that I would say to my former self, but I think I would emphasize that, rank is just a number, and it doesn't necessarily always matter once you graduate from high school. No one is going to ask what you were ranked, and focus on living your life as a student, as a kid in high school, and, understand that all your anxieties about college, you'll have plenty of time to figure all that out when you're actually in college, but actually enjoy your moments in high school while you have them. And I would also add that, especially in this era of COVID where everything is going to be online for who knows how long, take a moment to go through your social media and clean them up, or if you want to start a new Twitter that is more of like a professional Twitter that you can post about. Let's say you had a lecture series and you found something you thought a particular note was really interesting, and you can tweet that as a way of kind of like documenting things that were important to you, but also highlighting your interests and offering personal notes of why that was important to you. It's a great way for you to learn to express what you are learning. And oftentimes people within your school will try to people within your certain area of study will appreciate that you are putting yourself out there as a college student online, and there's room to grow and learn from others who are within that space. And oftentimes your professors might even be on social media too, so you want them to find a professional Twitter and not a high school version Twitter of you. So definitely keep in mind that you can have opportunities arise from social media. I've had 3 different job offers because of social media in the last 3 years. So know that always putting your best foot forward never hurts. It only helps you.
What I would tell myself is kind of like just to relax, because I was very into like taking classes and doing my best, and I think that that was great, but I felt like I should have like let myself enjoy like high school a little bit more, especially because it was my senior year and stuff like that. So I'd probably tell myself to relax a little bit toward the end. But also what I would tell myself is that to look into things and like know what you want and do a schedule, like have a schedule so you have time for those activities that you want to do with your friends and stuff like that. I was organized in a sense, but I wasn't that organized to the point that I needed to be organized, you know? So like, for example, I didn't apply to that many scholarships. I applied really late to some of them. So like for me, if I was like in my senior year of high school and I could go back and tell myself something, it'd be like relax, but also have time for those things that you need to do. Like writing essays for scholarships and stuff like that. And it's just like they're very important for a lot of people. I personally didn't see that they were that important, especially also college applications. Like I was just like, if anything, I'll just go to UTRGV. But I then realized, you know, I was a little bit late, and like the college that I could have gotten into if I applied a little bit earlier, I don't have the chance to anymore because I'm applying really late. So if I had the opportunity to tell myself something, it'd be like apply early to everything that you can, and then give yourself time to relax and make sure that you're on top of your high school work, but also give yourself time to hang out with your friends and enjoy your high school year. I mean, it's your last year, and like for example me, I haven't had that much time to hang out with them recently because I do live most of the time in San Marcos, and with the whole COVID right now, I don't really want to hang out with that much people because you don't know. But yeah, I would just say enjoy it, because like I do see my friends. I do see the ones from here from the Valley. I hang out with them and I talk to them, but it's not the same, especially because in high school you talk to them all the time. They're always there. You see them every day except for like the weekends, but in college you don't. So even like the friends that you have in college, you might not see them every day. So you just like, for me, it just be like, make sure that what you're doing is what you want to do and reflect on it, and like just relax and make sure that what you need to do is like your priority, but also give yourself time to relax and just be yourself, you know? But yeah, I think that would be what I would tell myself.
Thank you for providing all these insightful answers to these questions. Now I want to give students who may be watching this video a chance to reach out to you all in case they have more questions or they want to learn more about your university experience. So do you all have a piece of contact information you'd like to share with students?
If any of y'all are interested in reaching out to me about internships or transitioning to college or jobs in writing or politics, feel free to reach out to me through my CSLAP profile. And if you want to follow me on social media, my handle for Twitter and Instagram is Amanda620DG.
If you want to contact me, you can look through CSLAP and there's a profile, and you can contact me through there, and it will redirect you to an email.
You know, CSLAP's all about mentorship, so I deeply appreciate your participation in this panel so students in the class of 2021 and beyond can gain this invaluable advice from your university experiences no matter where they go. This is Thomas Ray Garcia from CSLAP. signing off. Thank you all so much. I'll see you soon.